Scantlebury.
Thank you. Dr. Scantlebury, where are you currently employed?
At West Tennessee Regional Forensic Center.
Okay. What's your position?
I'm an assistant medical examiner.
And how long have you been in that position?
5 years.
Okay. And what does your job consist of?
Performing autopsies.
Okay. So could you tell the jury a little bit about your educational background?
Okay. So I attained my Bachelor of Science in Biology at Howard University. After that, I completed my medical training at Howard University College of Medicine. I did an anatomic and clinical pathology residency at Washington University in St. Louis. And then I did some forensic pathology fellowships at St. Louis University.
Okay. And are you board certified?
I am.
And are you a licensed physician in Tennessee?
I am.
Okay. So my next question is, what exactly is forensic pathology?
It is a specialized branch of medicine that uses a medical legal approach to death and disease.
Okay. And what does a forensic pathologist do?
So they perform autopsies to determine cause and manner of death in certain cases based on the jurisdiction.
Okay. Can you tell us what is an autopsy?
An autopsy is basically an external and internal examination of a deceased person, and you do a basic overview of the external, noting any trauma, medical disease, or any findings like tattoos or scars, and then internal examination to note if there's any injury or medical disease, and with all of that, determine what caused the death of a person.
Okay. So what are the different stages of an autopsy?
So it kind of starts with the investigation, and with the investigation determine what level of autopsy needs to be performed. And first stage would be reviewing materials. The next stage is determining if x-rays or anything needs to be done. And then external examination, once the body is undressed and photographed, the doctor will take external view of the body, noting any demographic information like hair color, eye color, if there are teeth, their tattoos, scars, then note any medical intervention, if they were having IVs, and also any medical disease, if they had any changes on their bodies, and then trauma is assessed externally.
Okay. Have you ever performed an autopsy?
I have.
About how many would you say?
Over 2,000.
Okay. So could you explain to the jury exactly what does cause of death mean?
So cause of death is the immediate reason that led to a person no longer living. So it's more what occurred in the body that led to death. So if you were shot, it might lead to exsanguination, you losing blood, and that would lead to your death. So it's basically what started the chain of events that led to somebody dying.
Is that different from manner of death?
It is.
How is it different?
So the manner of death informs what happens to the cause of death. So manner of death is circumstances around those causes. So if it's something that happened naturally, that your body did all of it, that's natural. If it's something at the hands of another, it might be considered a homicide. If it's something that is happened in the course of doing something else, but it wasn't intentional to cause a death, it might be accident.
And have you ever testified about your findings in court before about an autopsy?
I have.
Okay. Have you ever been qualified as an expert witness in the courts of this county or any other county?
I have.
Okay. And how many times about that?
I think 4 times in Shelby County, and a little bit more than that in outside counties in Tennessee and in St. Louis City and some St. Louis counties.
Okay.
Or Missouri counties, I should say.
Your Honor, I now tender Dr. Scantlebury as an expert in forensic pathology and ask that she be allowed to state her opinions as to a reasonable degree of certainty, medical certainty.
We would stipulate as to her expertise and have no objection.
Thank you. I qualify Dr. Scantlebury as a expert in the area of forensic pathology.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, Dr. Scantlebury, I now want to ask you about a specific autopsy. Autopsy number 2021-2619 for an Adolph Thornton Jr. Did you perform this autopsy?
I did.
Do you recall when the autopsy was performed?
On November 18th, 2021.
And did you make a report as to your findings and conclusions as a result of the autopsy of Mr. Thornton?
I did.
Okay. I want to pass you a document. So do you recognize that document I just handed to you?
I do.
And what is it?
It is my autopsy report and some supporting documents.
Is that your signature down at the bottom?
It is.
Okay. Your Honor, I would like to have the autopsy report entered into evidence and marked as the next numbered exhibit.
No objection.
This is a multi-page document entitled Office of the Medical Examiner, West Tennessee Regional Forensic Center. Name of decedent Adolph Robert Thornton Jr. With the state number 21-79-4134. We'll mark this as Exhibit 27.
So now I just want to go over the autopsy report a little bit. First, I want to ask you, how did your autopsy proceed? Where did you start?
So I started with being notified of the death, and then I reviewed the investigative material that the medical legal death investigator performed or produced, and then I had requested what I needed done for the case. So it will start with me getting x-rays, and then the autopsy technician would be weighing the decedent. They would be taking measurements, and then they would undress them after taking pictures and documenting what they found on the body. And then after pictures were taken of the overall body and certain findings of the body, then more specific photos are taken of the injuries that were found on the body. And then I would start my external examination with everything, all the findings, and then measurements of all the injuries that were on the body. And after that, I performed the autopsy with the assistance of the autopsy technician, where they eviscerate the body, and I would note what was injured and what was found in each body cavity, and also going to the head.
So during the course of the autopsy, you said pictures were taken.
Yes.
Did you take pictures?
Yes.
Okay. I'm actually going to hand these to you one by one. Can you tell me what you see in that picture?
So this is the right side of the head and neck, showing a large wound on the right jaw.
Okay. You can place that one down.
So because these have been previously marked, I need to know which one you're sending.
Your Honor, this is actually going to be exhibit number 16 that was previously marked. And now as to the exhibit number 17 that has been previously marked, Dr. Scantlebury, can you tell us what you see in that picture?
Yes. This is the back side of the body, mostly highlighting the right back with several wounds, and some wounds are noted on the left side of the back as well. And you can see the wound on the right jaw.
You can place that one down as well. As to exhibit number 18, could you tell me what you see in that picture?
So this is a front side of the body, highlighting the left side, and it shows some gunshot wounds here.
Okay. You can place that one down. And as to exhibit number 19, what do you see in that picture?
So this shows the right wrist and hand and a little bit of the forearm, and it shows some gunshot wounds. This one mostly highlights a wound at the right wrist.
Okay. And this is exhibit number 20. Could you tell us what you see in that picture?
So this is a wound of the left forearm right here, and it shows a gunshot wound of the left forearm.
Okay. And exhibit number 21. What is shown in that picture?
This is an overall picture of some of the clothing that was removed from Mr. Thornton.
Okay, you can place that one down. And exhibit number 22, is this also some of the clothing?
Yes. This is a shirt. It has some markers that indicate where some defects in the clothing were found.
Is that the front or the back of the shirt?
I'm not certain, but it looks like the back.
Okay. And you can place that one down as well. And exhibit number 23. What do you see in that picture?
So this is the front of a shirt, and it also has some markers indicating where some hole defects were found.
Okay. You can place that one down. And exhibit 24.
This is a undershirt with markers showing where defects were found.
Okay. You can place that down. And exhibit 25.
This is overall of some property that was found on Mr. Thornton. It has money, some jewelry, some cards, and a condom.
Okay. Place that one down. And exhibit 26. What is shown in that one?
This is an overall view of bullet fragments from the right jaw that were recovered.
Okay, you can place that one down. Your Honor, we are asking that those photos that have been previously marked be entered into evidence.
No marked exhibits will enter into evidence. Exhibits 16 through 26 that have been previously marked and identified by this witness into evidence. Have you not done it already?
And if I could have those pictures back. Your Honor, may I have permission to publish to the jury?
You did.
Judge, may we be briefly approached?
You may.
Dr. Scantlebury, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay. If you could just project your voice loud, and if you can't hear me, let me know.
Ms. Williams, I'm going to ask you to do the same, please.
Absolutely, Judge. Okay. Dr. Scantlebury, I believe this photo might be a little bit blurry, but could you tell the jury what is actually shown in this photo?
Okay, so this is showing his. Do you have a pointer by any chance?
You want to? Yes. Just press and hold that first button at the top.
Thank you. All right, so to orient everyone, okay, so this is the top of his head. This will be his torso here. This is the right side of the body, his ear, and this large defect here is a gunshot wound of the right jaw. And this is well, you can't really see it that well, but this is the placard with the scale and case number indicating which case it belongs to.
So for this wound, did the bullet or bullets hit anything as it passed through the body?
It did.
Okay, what exactly did it hit?
It struck the skeletal muscle and caused a lot of fractures to the mandible, the lower jaw, and it caused fracturing around the gums where the teeth are located in the lower jaw.
In your medical opinion, would this wound be catastrophic or fatal?
Potentially.
Okay, move on to the next one. And just for the record, Your Honor, I am going in order of of the exhibits.
Thank you.
This is exhibit number 17. Dr. Scantlebury, can you tell us what we're looking at right here?
We're looking at the back of the body. The head is here. Head is here, and his feet would be down here. This is his right arm. This is his left arm, and you can see this area here, there, and you're not so great. Some over here and another there. Those are gunshot entrance wounds.
Entrance wounds.
Yes.
So for the torso or this area, how many entrance wounds did you calculate?
For the torso, 8.
Okay. Were there any exit wounds?
Yes.
Okay. How many exit wounds were there?
4.
Was that near the back of the torso or the front of the torso?
Front of the torso.
Okay. And did any of these bullets hit any vital organs as they passed through the body?
They did.
And what did it hit?
It hit the right lung, liver, the thoracic aorta, which is a major blood vessel that supplies blood to the whole body, small intestine, several ribs, and some vertebrae.
And could those wounds be potentially fatal in this instance?
Yes.
Okay. And if I could ask about the trajectory of the bullets as it passed through the torso, what directions were they coming from?
So for these wounds of the torso, they had a very mixed pattern, but most of them, the general track is forward.
Okay. So it came through
The back to the front. Yes.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next one. This is exhibit 18. Could you tell us what we're looking at?
This is the front of the body, mostly the left. This is his left arm here, his head is here, and his lower body would be here. And it can show a gunshot wound here and here.
And are those exit wounds or entry wounds?
Exit wounds.
Okay. And how many did you say again that you calculated?
4.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next one. This is exhibit 19. Dr. Scantlebury, can you tell us what we are looking at right here?
This is the right side of the body, mostly highlighting the right upper extremity. This is the forearm here, the wrist, and the hand. And it highlights a large wound, gunshot wound of the right wrist.
Okay. Next one. This is exhibit number 20. Does this also show upper extremities?
Yes.
Okay. So how many wounds are in this exact picture?
1.
Okay. All right. Moving on to the next exhibit, which is exhibit 21. Now, are these the victim's clothing?
They are.
Okay. So, exactly what did he come to? What was he wearing when he came to you?
These clothes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have 2 shirts, pair of jeans, boxers, shoes, and socks.
Correct.
Okay. Was there any property found within his clothing?
They were.
Okay. And this is exhibit number 22. And Dr. Scantlebury, if you could just give me some clarification here. Are these white squares showing where there are holes in the clothing?
Correct.
Okay. Are there arrows on those white squares?
They are.
Okay. All right. And about how many holes in the clothing did you calculate?
I did not cut those.
Okay. Thank you. And the next picture is exhibit number 23. Now, it looks like the same photo, but is this the front or the back of the shirt?
This is the front of the shirt.
Okay. And do those white squares also indicate holes in the clothing?
Correct.
Okay. In exhibit 24, looks like this is an undershirt. And the same thing as the last shirt. Do those white squares indicate holes within that garment?
Correct.
Okay. And the next exhibit, number 25. Could you tell us what we're looking at right here?
So we're looking at the overall view of property that was found on or in pockets of the clothing for Mr. Thornton.
Okay. Were there any weapons found within his clothing?
I don't recall.
Okay.
What was that response?
I don't recall.
And on to the final exhibit, number 26. What are we looking at, Dr. Scantlebury?
This is the brown area is an envelope that we use to package any ballistics that we recover from the body. And these are multiple bullet fragments that were recovered from the right jaw.
Okay. Regarding the bullet fragments that were recovered from the right jaw, would it be within your job duties to conduct tests on those fragments?
No, I would not.
Okay. And do you happen to know whether or not the murder weapons were recovered in this case at all?
Not at the time I did the case, no.
Okay. So if the murder weapons were recovered, would it be within your job duties to conduct tests on them?
It would not be.
Okay. Just a couple more questions. So, Dr. Scantlebury, where is a toxicology test?
At the time autopsy, we take certain fluids, usually blood, sometimes liver, and certain fluids also from the eye, and we submit it to a toxicology lab, and they run a particular test that I order, and based on the drugs that they look for in that particular test, it would test against the blood, and whatever is detected would be read as a positive finding.
Okay. And is a toxicology test a standard part of an autopsy?
Most cases, yes.
Okay. And did you conduct a toxicology test for this victim?
I did.
And what were the results of that test?
It was the active ingredient of marijuana was detected.
Okay. So as to the total entry wounds to this victim, how many were there?
20.
20. Okay. How about the exit wounds?
4.
Okay. And in your medical opinion, were these gunshot wounds enough to cause death?
They were.
Okay. And within a reasonable degree of medical certainty, did you render an opinion as to the cause of this victim's death?
I did.
And what was the cause of that?
Gunshot wounds of the head, torso, and neck.
Okay. And did you render an opinion as to the manner of death?
I did.
And what was your opinion?
Homicide.
Your Honor, I will pass the witness.
Mr. Evans?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just have a few questions. You were asked about entry wounds and versus exit wounds, and I think you said there's 20 entry wounds and 4 exit wounds.
Correct.
You were also asked some questions about ballistics, I think, or used the term ballistics. As far as ballistics go, within your job and your responsibilities, do you recover bullets from the body that are still in the body at the time of the autopsy?
Yes.
How many of those did you recover?
So I recovered 4 bullets that were related to this shooting, and then there were 3 others that occurred that he had in his body from before. So remote bullets I found. 3 of them.
All right, so 3 from him being shot some other occasion.
Yes.
Okay. So 4 related to this shooting.
Yes.
And then, does that include fragments, or is that a different category?
So in this case specifically, he had several fragments, and some, due to evidentiary value, they're very small. I didn't recover all of them, but I recovered the larger ones. Yes.
Okay, and is that inclusive in the number that you just gave me of the bullets recovered?
Yes.
Okay. Were some of those intact?
Most weren't.
Most weren't.
Yeah.
But to your recollection, were any intact?
1.
One was intact. And it would be your procedure and policy as the medical examiner to package any of those bullets and bullet fragments in the brown envelope, right? And send those back to law enforcement to let them do any potential ballistic firearms testing on them, correct?
Correct.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
right, ladies and gentlemen, you have heard something, you have not heard everything you're going to hear. So I ask you to go and have a good evening with dinner